Okay, today I'm going to tie a bleeding gill olive over white Clouser, as you see right here. The reason why I started tying this Clouser like this was mainly to imitate what the gear guys were doing, in which they have that little bit of that red hot spot there. You can also see it on this little swim bait here as well. So, and lastly on this color here, these are really hot swim bait patterns, and I figured, well, if they can do it on theirs stuff, why can't I do it on a Clouser? So go ahead, I'm going to attach here in the vise. This is an SC15 Gamakatsu size 2. It's my preferred hook for tying these small Clousers. Go ahead and just attach, in this case, a little bit of red thread behind the eye of the hook. I'm going to come in, hit it with a little crazy glue. Like so. For my bleeding gill, I like to use, this is Petite Estaz in the color red. So what I do is just make a nice little wrap there, get the material in behind the eye. Gonna hit it with some more crazy glue. Next, just go ahead and just trim off that little tag in there. You need about one or two wraps is all you really need of this material, and that's it. Go ahead and make your tie-in. Last thing I want to do is just hit it with a little more super glue there. Make sure it's nice and tight. And because it has the super glue there, you can whip finish it off, but I'm going to go ahead and just cut it off, and that will not go anyplace. Next, I'm going to go ahead and just tie in my next thread. In this case, it's Mono fine clear, like this thread. It is really thin diameter and also really strong. So go ahead, put it on the shank of the hook there, and this is when I start tying in my Clouser material, essentially my bucktail. This is a bit different tie than you'll see for most traditional Clousers. I'm going to go ahead and just start stacking in from the white to the olive on top. Typical Clouser is tied basically from the top over the eyes, but I kind of like my Clouser this way. I think it sinks nicer and penetrates the water a little better. So I've sized my bucktail here to what I like to use for size 2 Clousers. On my tying desk I have a little bit of a measurement, and I think this is great because it keeps my Clousers very consistent. So once you go ahead and get one quick little pinch wrap there, you can just bind the materials down to the shank of the hook. Looking good. And the bucktail is on. Go ahead and just split the material a little bit. Make sure you have it kind of nice and even there. Attach the hook back to the vise. Then all I have to do is take basically one binding wrap around the shank there to bind the bucktail in to the shank. Okay, next comes flash. For my flash, I'm going to go ahead and just use some DNA holochromosome flash. I'm going to come in and also bring in some midge flash, copper, and some midge flash black. So this is my bit of my lateral line flash on this fly. I really like this hollow chromosome flash. I think probably even better than crystal flash, which is the traditional material used for Clousers. I think it's a little more supple, adds a really nice look to this fly. So I'm going to go ahead and just splay out basically the copper and black on each side of this fly there, and take it thread right back to the eye of the hook. Okay, once that is done, I'm going to go ahead and just do a quick whip finish. 1, 2, 3, and cut off there the uni mono thread. Next, attach my next thread, which in this case it is a light olive 6/0 thread here. Go ahead, bring the thread to the eye of the hook. Bring my next color, which in this case I am tying an olive white Clouser. So there I already have my pre-cut olive bucktail. Same deal. What I'm going to do is make one pinch wrap around the bucktail. Then I'm going to slide back a little bit because I don't want those butts to go over the eye of the hook. So something like that. Once it looks good, you can go ahead and wind in. Looking good. The next thing I'm going to do is come in with my topper flash. And for the topper flash, I'm going to go ahead and just use some medium DNA hollow fusion, or medium olive DNA hollow fusion. I like this as a topper flash. I think it's quite nice. It's supple, and it also has a nice little flash characteristics to it. So go ahead, again, split it on both sides of that hook point. Add a little more thread. Get your taper nice and neat as you like it for the fly. Looking good. Has that nice cone-shaped appearance. Next, just do whip finish, and essentially the fly is done. There you go. So I now have my Clouser with materials there tied in. Looking pretty good as a Clouser. Got that nice white olive on top, and you can see that nice bleeding gill. The only thing left to do is trim down my materials. So I'm going to go ahead and just cut the materials at some angles here to get to the size that I want for my Clouser. I like to cut things in angles because I think it makes the Clouser look much nicer. The last thing I'm going to do is just taper this piece right here down. And this essentially is the hollow fusion. I'm going to go ahead and just add a nice angle to it. I think that makes this fly look really cool. So there you go. You have a nice Clouser. Nice look to it. Lastly, I'm going to go ahead and add in some hollow fusion. This is actually liquid fusion. Mixed with water right here in the belly of the fly. And I do this to kind of stiffen that piece up. I think it makes that a nice little stiff section there. It keeps things nice and tight to the shank. And the last thing I'm going to do is just hit the threads with some Zap-A-Gap. So there you go. Fly stiff in the center there. I have my Zap-A-Gap on those threads. And there you go. A finished bleeding gill Clouser. Thanks a lot. Bye.